Welcome to the Coparenting Conversations podcast, brought to you by the Center for Divorce Education. With renowned psychologist Dr. Donald Gordon, we will delve into the complex world of co-parenting during and after divorce and separation. Join us as we explore some of the emotional, legal, and practical aspects of parental breakups, helping you navigate this transformative journey with wisdom and guidance. Whether you're currently going through a divorce, contemplating separation, or supporting a loved one in their journey, the Center for Divorce Education is here to empower you with knowledge and offer you a roadmap towards a brighter future. The information presented in this podcast is intended for educational purposes only. The presentation of this material is not intended to constitute mental health therapy or to diagnose mental health disorders. The presentation of this material is not intended to constitute legal advice. Participants are encouraged to discuss specific legal questions with a licensed attorney of their choice.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of the Coparenting Conversations podcast by the Center for Divorce Education. We provide online parenting classes for divorcing and separating parents. I'm Jamie, and I've got Dr. Donald Gordon and my colleague Chelsea with me today. And we're going to be discussing stress reduction techniques for parents. So obviously, this can be helpful for not just divorcing or separating parents, but also parents in general. So let's get on with it. Chelsea, you are a parent. So what are some techniques you find helpful when you're stressed?
The number one technique I've found useful in the heat of the moment is walking away to calm down. It's not always practical, but it's the most effective for me. I have to back up and snap myself out of my feelings and bring some logic to the table, or else I typically will shut down. If I can, I also like to listen to music. I'll go power lift. Finding those hobbies has been a lifesaver for me. I'm working on habit stacking where I purposefully practice deep breathing in those moments that I already take for myself. I've heard that's scientifically proven to work.
I actually have definitely used the deep breathing method too. I tend to feel like I don't have enough time to breathe when I'm stressed though. So I haven't really tried the cold water method, which I've heard of too, where you put cold water on your forehead. What I usually do when I'm stressed is try to focus on something else for 30 minutes, kind of like what you're saying, distract yourself. And I actually learned this from a therapist. I do a timeout and I'm like, okay, timeout for 30 minutes. You have to focus on something other than what you're stressed about. Not only does it give you time to kind of alleviate that stress, but it also gives you time to come up with a solution to fix the stress usually. So it's hard not thinking about whatever's stressing you out, but it does usually help. Let's go ahead and ask the expert here though, Dr. Don. What are some techniques you suggest that can help lower stress?
Well, the techniques are really important today because, as the Surgeon General said last August, that the majority of parents are feeling overwhelming stress just about every day. That's a lot of stress for people to have to deal with. And most of us are not taught methods for reducing stress. We may have found out some on our own, a lot of us have, but we don't often have a very good library of methods we can use. So today we'll cover some of those. Now, deep breathing and cold water both relax your vagus nerve, which is a bundle of nerves that go from your brainstem to every major organ in your body. It's also known as the fight or flight response. And the vagus nerve regulates our autonomic nervous system, so deep breathing or a jolt of cold water can help relax our vagus nerve. There are several different deep breathing methods as well. The one from our program emphasizes breathing in as big a breath as you can take, holding it for 3 seconds, and then releasing the breath slowly. Repeat this at least 3 times, and you'll notice a beneficial effect. There's also the bee breathing method, which is in which you take a deep breath in, and when you release the breath, you make a humming sound like a bee. This is frequently used in yoga and is believed that the vibration from the humming can also help calm the mind and release tension. There's also the box breathing method and the VU breathing method, which are similar. In the box breathing, you hold the breath, you inhale for, say, 6 seconds, you hold it for 6 seconds, you exhale for 6 seconds, and then you hold that for 6 seconds. So exhaling and the VU breathing is where you make a VU sound when you're exhaling, similar to the bee breathing technique. It sounds like this. VU.
deep breathing could definitely help with whatever method people may choose. But I also have seen a lot of YouTube videos on all of these different breathing techniques too, so people can look them up if they want to. What other tips for reducing stress do you got for us?
Well, you can use your finger to pull down on your ear, stick it in the canal of your ear and pull down gently with medium pressure. And then you can make gentle circular motions, and that can help relax the vagus nerve as well. It helps release a sympathetic energy and calms the vagus nerve. There's also some tapping methods that can help reduce anxiety. This is something that you can look up. It's called EFT, F as in Frank, or emotional freedom technique. And it connects the mind to the body, which can reduce stress and calm the nervous system. There's a lot of really good, well-controlled studies showing how effective this EFT technique is. And if you don't have a professional who does that in your community, you can usually Google it and find out some videos demonstrating the technique.
Okay.
Another one's holding a small, smooth object like a marble or a small ball and rolling it between your palms. You can have the same effect as tapping by connecting the brain to the body and to calm the vagus nerve. A recent technique I've learned was introduced by a therapist and expert in polyvagaltheory, Deb Dana, and is training your brain to notice something called glimmers. Glimmers can be anything opposite of triggers, essentially. It's like the sun on your skin, a smile from a stranger, drinking your favorite coffee or tea, or anything that makes us stop and pay attention to something positive in the environment. These are brief sensory moments that give safety to our nervous system. The more glimmers we focus on throughout the day, the more emotional regulation that comes into our day.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I have actually heard of glimmers, but I also just kind of assumed it was referring to positive things that have happened. But I can actually see how using glimmers in the way of helping to relax might really work, though. Everybody kind of knows I'm a stressed person. I like to get things done, and I like to have a schedule. Sometimes I'm a little pessimistic, maybe. But it is hard when you tend to get irritated quickly when things don't work out according to your plan. So I can actually see myself taking a moment outside before I get stressed instead of focusing on what worked me up by thinking on, of something else, like the sun on my face.
Well, exactly. So everybody has different glimmers or ways that work with calming themselves, which is why I suggest trying them all to see what works for you. But all these techniques are aimed at calming the vagus nerve, which will help reduce stress. When you discover techniques that work for you, it'd be good to make a list of those and keep those handy, maybe in several places, at the office, in your wallet, on your bedside, so that when you're feeling stressed and you're not coming up with many ideas, you're going to look at the list of things that you know that will work for you.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea, making sure that you have them written somewhere so that you can remember. Well, these are all great techniques we've learned today, and I definitely appreciate it, Dr. Dawn. Hopefully our listeners can try out a few of these as well. Until next time, have a great week, guys.